to become a certified medium through NSAC. So we still keep praying that she has passed. She has a wonderful way of sharing her wisdom and points of view with others. And I have recently become to feel a friend. Introduce to you, Joanna Bartlett.
I guess I should have paid more attention in sight reading classes, and I wouldn't have been cracking up behind my hymnal there. But spirit likes laughter, because we say that raises the vibration too. So a little bit of uncontrollable love is a good thing as well. So, the last time I talked a few weeks ago, afterwards I think we had food of some kind, and I was standing in the kitchen with Cliff and Cass, and we were talking about something. Cliff was talking about like the latest thing that he's read or heard. And Cliff isn't here right now, so I feel kind of bad, like, and I'm not really making fun of him, but, you know, talking about him without him here, but, you know, I'll forgive me, right? Yeah. So he was talking about, like, you know, because he's into a lot of things, which is really cool, and he likes to share them with people, which is also cool. And so he was saying something about how he had read or heard or been to a workshop or something about this thing where there's these 3 steps, and you're supposed to, first you're supposed to ask, and then you're supposed to allow, and then you're supposed to receive, or, you know, something like that. I apparently wasn't paying really close attention. Cass took notes, however. And Cass said something like, you know, don't you ever feel like guilty for asking for so much, or like you already have enough and that you shouldn't ask anymore? And I said, in my usual fashion, I said, I am so grateful for everything that I have that I want more of it. And Cliff said, well, that should be the topic of your next talk. So here we go. You're the hot one up here. And I am so grateful for everything that I have that I want more. And by wanting more of all this good stuff in my life, whether it is friends or family or money or clients or spiritual growth or love or whatever it is, rather than being ungrateful for the things that I have, I'm actually showing gratitude for these things that I have. So there's no need to feel like, you know, I have enough or I don't need any more. I love the stuff, I don't just mean like the stuff, I mean, I like my stuff too. That's, you know, it's okay to like our things. Don't be too attached to them, but it's okay to like, you know, decent clothes and a nice car and somewhere to live and, you know, my cool 19-inch computer monitor, flat screen that I got on sale. I mean, you know, it's okay to enjoy that stuff. But, you know, the other things, the important stuff as well, you know, the love that I have in my life, my family, my friends, my spiritual community. It's okay to want more of that. It's okay to want more of that in your life. And I think sometimes certain people, certain ones of us, like Cass maybe, but I'm sure there are other people out there too, that kind of feel like, you know, I have enough. I don't need more. Other people need more. But it's okay to want more. So I'm here to tell you. And we also hear a lot about the whole, you know, and I talk a lot about the thoughts becoming things and how we create our reality. And some people talk a lot about, which has always tripped me up, the whole lack mentality and not thinking they're coming from the lack mentality about how if you are thinking about how you need more money or more friends because you feel like you don't have any or enough, then what you end up creating is more of not having enough or not having any rather than creating what you want. You end up creating what you don't have. And, you know, that makes my brain hurt. I don't know about yours, but I'm like, wait a minute, okay, so I want more, okay, I need more clients for my business, but I can't think about how I don't have enough clients, or then I'll just create less clients. Wait, that, you know, so it's, you know, it's, that hurts my brain, it does. But instead, if you think about, like, what you have, and be grateful for things that you do have, then you create more of that, because it comes from an entirely different place. It comes from that place of gratitude. And we're all experiencing good stuff, and I know sometimes it's hard to remember the good stuff. You know, you might need to change your perspective so that instead of focusing on all the stuff that you don't have, or you don't have yet, or that you would like to have, or, you know, that you can think about whatever it is, even if it's small stuff, even if it's, you know, one friend, one really good friend that you have, if you feel like you don't have a whole lot of people in your life that you can really hang out with or count on, or that give as much back to you as you're giving to them. You focus on the little stuff that you have, and you do end up creating more of it. I think for a lot of people, one of the things that gets in the way of all of that is feeling guilty. A lot of us feel guilty about, you know, the things that do we deserve the things that we have, or the things that we want and don't quite yet have more of, or as much as we would like. You know, we deserve all this goodness in our lives. We deserve all this wealth, all this love, all this whatever it is. And are there other people out there that need it more than we do? You know, because there are a lot of people out there in the world in need. You've got to be pretty blind not to notice that. And generally, you know, you guys get that stuff. But it's important to realize that you having whatever it is that you want does not equal other people not having. There is not a finite supply of whatever it is in the universe. The universe is infinite. That's why we call it infinite intelligence. There isn't, you know, your wealth does not equal somebody else's lack of prosperity. Your happiness does not equal somebody else's pain. It's not how the equation works. And I think sometimes we get it in our heads that it does somehow. That if I have all of this, then like somehow it's like creating this, sucking it out of somewhere else so it's not over here. And most of us, you know, we're good people, and we want other people to have what we have. And so we don't want to have like so much that I think we start to feel guilty that, well, there are other people that don't have it. But us having it, or us, especially us not having it, doesn't make other people then have it. And your responsibility, and this is going to sound, I don't know, maybe anti-spiritual, but your responsibility is to yourself. That's what spiritualism teaches, is personal responsibility. We do have responsibility with people in the world around us and all of that, but our responsibility isn't to take on the sufferings of the world. Because you living in lack, in poorness, in misery, or in ill health does nothing to help other people in similar situations. You suffering does not elevate you up to help other people. Whereas if you have, being lovely, kind, generous people that you are, you're going to give. And you're going to give as much as you can to other people. So don't feel guilty about having or wanting to have more. You're allowed to have these things. And by having them, by allowing yourself to have them, you're going to go out and spread this out to all the people that don't have. Whatever it is, whether it's love or money or food or friendship or whatever, because I think just by the nature of having an abundance of that kind of thing in your life, you're just moved to kind of like go out and like, you know, give it to somebody else. When you feel good, you want to spread that feeling of goodness with other people that aren't feeling so good. So remember that you're allowed to have the things that you want in your life, whatever these things are. And the way that the equation does work, rather than you having, you know, equaling other people not having, the way that it works is that you will always have the things you want for yourself, because that's what you end up creating, one way or another. However it works, that whole mysterious thoughts becoming things process, however it works, it does work. And so by wanting that, and we end up putting everybody else in our lives first, to the extent that we're not looking after ourselves. I mean, sometimes you have to put other people first. You know, that's not a bad thing to do. Especially, you know, when you have kids, you have people that just need you a whole lot for whatever reason. But you can't do it to the point where you're not looking after yourself anymore. Because then you end up not having anything to be able to look after other people with. And you all know, I think, the universe is, I talked about last time, the universe is on our side, it's looking out for us, it wants good things for us. And I think that's one of the ways it looks out for us and looks after us. It's a tangible way the universe looks after us. And that's a good thing. So, it's pretty much everything that I have to say today. That stay as much as you can from that feeling of gratitude, of that grateful place, because it keeps you coming from the right place. It keeps you focused, it keeps us focused on what we already have. It helps us create more of what we want, of what we have, with that energy of joy. So I will leave all of that with you in love and light, and hope that it all makes sense and that we actually know the next 10. Thank you.